Call to order the Rainbow Municipal Water District Board of Directors meeting for May 26, 2026, 2626. Roll call, please.
President Hamilton,
Here.
Director Mack,
Here.
Director Hoffman, Director Irvine,
Here.
Director Townsend Smith appears to be.
He's en route.
He's en route.
Running a little late.
Okay, thank you. We have a quorum. Thank you.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda?
Staff has none.
Directors, none?
None.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as published? So moved. Moved by Director Mack, seconded by Director Hamilton. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Public comment. Any person may address the board at this time upon any subject not identified on this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the Rainbow Municipal Water District. However, any matter that requires action will be referred to staff for a report and action at a subsequent board meeting. As to matters on the agenda, if a request to make a public comment is received, an opportunity will be given to address the board when that matter is considered. I have one speaker slip. So I will tell Julie what we have to do. Members of the public may make comments in person by submitting a speaker slip to the board secretary virtually through virtual or teleconference options, or by submitting an email to the board secretary no later than midnight the day before the meeting. Comments should be made in an orderly manner, and profanity, slander, or abusive language which is disruptive to the meeting will not be tolerated. Individuals have a limit of 3 minutes to make comments and will have the opportunity when called upon by the presiding officer. Do we have any email or virtual request?
We have members of the public online, but none have made a request.
You've made a request, okay. At this time, I'll recognize Julie Johnson for a general public comment.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts as a Rainbow Municipal Water District ratepayer regarding the fiscal year 2026, 2027, and fiscal year 2027 and 2028 proposed budgets. First, I am most appreciative to the Water District's leadership and staff for their ongoing measures to maximize resources to keep water rates down. Projecting costs for future expenses is challenging, and your team approach is producing incredible results. Feedback from ratepayers is taken seriously. Bottom line is every small contribution is valued, and every savings is for the direct benefit of the ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second, after review of the fiscal year 2025-2026 totals for the board directors in attachment G of today's board packet, it is most informative to see the patterns of differences in directors' reimbursement. What may not be known without reviewing these reports is that some of our board directors have consistently submitted far lower reimbursement for their public service month after month, year after year. With my calculations, some of these board directors have each saved our district thousands of dollars, which is a direct benefit to our ratepayers. I encourage the board of directors to review the Rainbow Municipal Water District bylaws, section 2.03.0110, for the purpose of the review to ensure transparency in directors' pay and expenses. Thank you.
Thank you. Employee recognitions.
Yes, we've got a big one today. Carlene, 10 years. And
I read that in the board packet and went, I know she's been here a long time, but I didn't realize it was that long.
yeah, 10 years. And you know, there was a write-up in there. I have a little more to add on to that, but Carlene's contribution to this district really can't be, I can't say enough about it. You know, there really aren't words to describe like how much she does around here. And really what she's done over the 10 years. She is a master of her craft, anything employment related, employee relations, now PR and safety. I mean, I haven't worked with anybody that knows her craft the way she knows her craft, and really, implements it in a way that's, she's got the trust of our employees. Just all those things are just, and it's so important. I think one of the biggest things, she was a key player really in the culture transformation that went on here over the last 10 years. Really a champion of continuous improvement and monitoring, and then continuous improvement, and then checking in and continuous improvement. And it's year after year. And I think it's best exemplified by the team she leads. Those areas of this district shine, right? They're areas that have consistently improved and really operate at a very high level. PR, which improvements there, those are very visible. So that's an easy one. But I think on the safety and risk side and just again employment related, it's crazy the amount of improvement that's gone on, and it continues. You'll see some of that on today's agenda with the MOUs, right? That's some of Carlene's work, right? And again, I think kind of continue to foster that. She's a champion of continuing education and training for our employees, and I think that's, I've been around a little bit, and I've seen agencies where they don't have that, right? And it's kind of a do the minimum kind of thing. And good examples like when job promotions come available, and I haven't got my certs yet for that, but can I get the job and then I'll get my cert later? It's the exact opposite here at Rainbow, right? Where everybody's kind of pushing to, which sometimes is unfortunate because it makes them very employable elsewhere, but are really, really good people. That people like to steal them, but I think that's really a result of what's gone on the last 10 years here. It is the exact opposite. People go above and beyond consistently day after day after day, and I think Carlene has played a major part in that kind of culture that's here. She's part of our executive team, and I rely on her heavily on all kinds of decisions, whether it's employee relations or anything else. She knows she gets to hear all my problems. But her perspective, it's unique, it's professional. Like I said, there probably aren't enough words I can say to really the benefit she provides across the district here. So I'm going to shut up, but thank you so much, and we have some stuff for you.
I'd like to add to that. She's been a tremendous aid to the board over the last 10 years. I spent 30 years in the private sector, worked with a number of different HR managers. God, I'd wish I'd had somebody like her, because it would have made my life so much easier.
Thank you.
Didn't mention her artist. She's an artist.
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic artist too.
That
Fantastic artist.
right brain, left brain. No, you're painting. Oh,
Item number 8, public hearing to solicit public input on the draft 2025 Urban Water Management Plan, UWMP, including discussion and consider adoption of a resolution approving the district's draft 2025 UWMP report, I guess you call it.
Yep.
Public hearing is to solicit public input on the draft, including discussion and possible actions for adoption of resolution 26-6, approving the district's 2025 UWMP is now open. All persons attending the meeting from off-site may indicate their wish to speak now. Do we have anybody that wishes to speak? Everyone will be given an opportunity to be heard. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes in length. Please speak slowly and clearly. This is required because the meeting is being recorded for the purposes of preparing minutes, and we want to get your comments into the minutes correctly. This is the time for presentation of testimony. No debate is allowed. This is. Are there any written materials or comments that have been submitted? Or is there anyone who wishes to provide comment?
I received none.
No written comments.
No written comment?
Yep.
Right.
At this time, the floor is open for public comments. Do I recognize Anthony at this point in time?
I don't think so. We'll open and close the public hearing and then do the
Okay.
presentation, right?
Oh, okay. So we have no public comments. Does the staff wish to respond to any subjects raised by a speaker? We didn't have any. At this time, any board member may ask any question of any speaker or staff. Are there any questions from the board to staff?
None on my.
Okay, none from the board. Does anyone in the audience have any comments solely to clarify any item raised by a board member's questions? We had none. Board discussion. There being no further testimony, I'll close the public testimony portion of the hearing. Is there any further discussion by board members?
None.
President Hamilton, excuse me. I apologize. I think ERSC would like to make a presentation prior to vote.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What I think we ought to do is move to the presentation because that may end up raising some questions.
Yeah,
from
well, you
board
can close
members.
the public hearing still, right?
I did.
Oh,
the
you did
public
close it.
hearing.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect then.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have Anthony Herta here from ERSC, who's.
We only do this once every 5 years. It's
That's
hard to
right.
remember.
That's right. But he's got a short presentation on what we're doing here today. So take it away. Very well.
Good afternoon, Board of Directors. My name is Anthony Herta with ERSC, and it's my pleasure to present to you this afternoon the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan. A brief presentation that goes along with the public hearing and adoption process today. The agenda for this brief presentation is a brief description of the administration of the plan, a description of the plan itself, and some of the steps and schedules in the adoption process to get this plan completed. So on the administration side, this is in fulfillment of the Urban Water Management Planning Act. Every water district. Thank you. In fulfillment of the Urban Water Management Planning Act, every water district in California is required to prepare an urban water management plan every 5 years. And that's the process that we're going through right now. I added a second bullet here. This question comes up from time to time. What happens if we don't make an urban water management plan? Well, nothing really happens. However, the state decided to tie state state financial instruments into the adoption of an urban water management plan. So to qualify for low interest loans and grants through the state, an urban water management plan is required. So this puts you in a good position for acquiring public funding. Okay, briefly on the plan description. This plan is presented really as two as two volumes in a single plan. It's called the Urban Water Management Plan is one volume, and the Water Shortage Contingency Plan is another volume. The Urban Water Management Plan is a regulatory document. It addresses the importance of water sustainability and projecting water sustainability out 20 years for planning purposes at a rate on a regional basis and a statewide basis. The Water Shortage Contingency Plan is really a component of your emergency response plan. How do you recognize if you're in the middle of a water shortage and actions can be taken to handle it? By the recommendation of the state, these documents were the Urban Water Management Plan was separated into two documents for convenience, so that you can keep the water shortage contingency plan side by side with your own emergency response plan for ease of use. The Urban Water Management Plan was developed in direct coordination with Eastern Municipal Water District. We need to make sure that the district's numbers and Eastern's numbers match up because we're both preparing urban water management plans. We want to make sure their documentation, ours is in the same, moving in the same direction and includes the same documentation. This is specific to population and population projection and demand projection. And finally, the Urban Water Management Plan is consistent with the guidebook for the preparation of 2025 urban water management plans that was published by the Department of Water Resources. Every cycle, they update the guidelines to make sure that the any new legislation has been incorporated to the new requirements. So the plans you're looking at today are compliant with the guidelines from Department of Water Resources and includes a checklist that the reviewers at Department of Water Resources will use to verify compliance. So what you're really adopting today is the public draft of the Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan, with the understanding that there are several small changes. Some of the changes have to do with at the time the public draft was made available for review, some events hadn't happened yet. This meeting, for example, publication of the notification for the meeting. So I left placeholders inside the document where these elements would be included in the final adopted plan. I received some minor corrections from staff, and I will incorporate those into the final draft as well. And then I have had an opportunity now to review the Eastern Municipal Water District's Urban Water Management Plan. There was very little to update from their plan other than they provided additional guidelines on wholesaler water conservation programs that are available to the district. And I wanted to make sure those were up to date. So what you would be reviewing today and adopting today is the amended Urban Water Management Plan with these amendments. So here we are today. At the beginning of the preparation of the plan, I issued notification to the city of Oceanside and San Diego County that the plan was being prepared. We coordinated with Eastern on the preparation of the plan. The plan was presented here to the Engineering and Operations Committee, and we received feedback on the status of the plan. Public drafts were issued for public review earlier this month, and now notification of the public hearing has been provided earlier this month. That's where we are today, and the next steps include, today we're conducting the public hearing. The board may consider adoption of the plan after the public hearing. Then it is my responsibility to make any adjustments to the plan as amended and submit it to the Department of Water Resources. Following submittal, I will be providing copies to certain stakeholders who are required to receive a copy. And I will I have a responsibility following implementation of the plan to wait for Department of Water Resources to review the plan and send any comments regarding the review process. I'm going to put that into perspective. It usually takes them 4 years to takes them about 4 years to get through the review process, and the plan is only valid for 5 years. So I have taken that into account.
You don't plan to retire between now and then.
I should say that the review process is in 3 parts. It needs to be submitted on time. That's step 1. It needs to meet the minimum requirements. That's step 2, and they usually get through that in about a month. And it needs to meet a more detailed review to make sure all the numbers match up and that there were no issues out of place. Well, that takes 4 years, it turns out. And okay, and I believe that's the last bit of the presentation I have here. I'd be happy to respond to any questions that you have.
So in the document we were provided, there were items that were highlighted in yellow. Those are the things that need to be updated or corrected.
That's correct.
Okay.
They were items like identifying where to find your municipal water district draft report, which hadn't been released at the time that I put the plan. Dates and location of publication of the notification for the meeting today. So I highlighted those as placeholders to make sure
Okay.
they're updated.
That was one of the things that had caught my mind because I've never read the Valley News. Supposedly the announcement was published in Valley News.
Valley, or was it Village? Valley?
It says Valley in the document.
I'll have to make sure.
It-
Good comment.
But it's highlighted.
Yeah,
That should be corrected.
Yeah.
yeah.
And there are obvious dates and things that were highlighted as well. That
Yeah, they were
placeholders.
They were, projected dates at the
Okay.
time that the plan was released for public review.
Are there any questions?
Nope.
None. There being no further turn, I've closed the public testimony. Is there any further discussion by board members? Is there any further recommendations or comments from staff?
None from staff.
It is now in order for the board to discuss this matter and for a board member to make a motion to take action. Do we have a motion to
Second.
moved by Director Smith, Townsend Smith, seconded by Director Irvine? All those in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. This concludes the public hearing on this matter. Thank you very much, Anthony.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Consent calendar. Consent calendar items that are expected to be routine and non-controversial to be acted on by the board at one time without discussion. If any board member or staff or interested party requests that an item be removed from the calendar, shall be removed, and so that it may be acted upon separately. Are there any objections to the consent calendar as published? Do I have a motion to approve?
Recommend approval of the consent calendar.
Moved by Director Irvine, seconded by Director Hamilton. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Action items. Consider approval of the award of a contract with Rogers Anderson, Malady and Scott LLP, Rams, for independent auditing services.
Yeah, and we've had our same auditor for quite a few years now. Constantine's going to walk us through, but yeah, I think 5 years we've had LSL. So felt it was time to issue an RFP, and so Constantine did so. We got some good responses, and he'll take you through what we're recommending here.
Thank you, Jake. President and members of the board, thank you. And first of all, I would like to introduce Scott Mano. We have him online today in case if you have any questions. He'll be able to answer. He's a partner from Rams joining us today. Appreciate you joining us, Scott. And just to give you some background, and like Jake mentioned, we've been with LSL quite a few years, and it's the best practices for businesses to switch their auditors to go out and bid for new services and see who will provide us more aligned service to us at a better cost. So that was highlighted in the RFP that we put together. And it was a good turnout of auditors. We got 8 different firms that provided their proposals, and we evaluated, looked at the cost. That was one of the components, and actually found the ones that were lower cost than our current LSL proposal. And we were down to 2 firms, and we selected them for interviews, and was Rams, and another firm was Nigro. But the Rams answered all of our questions very well, and that they're very their proposal was very aligned with our district needs. Specifically, they will be able to help us during ERP migration. They have a specialist who is can be dedicated verifying that we're moving our accounts correctly and everything transitioning smoothly. We also have lean staffing in accounting, so we were looking for a firm that will be able to help us more and put less work on us and do bulk of the work themselves. So Rams did really good. Staff proposes issuing a 5-year contract that is with an option. It's renewable on a year-by-year basis. So if we don't like them, we can change them a year. But
So it's
this is the
5-year, but
recommendation.
year by year.
That is correct.
Okay.
Mhm. And we received a 5-year cost from them, which are below of our current auditor. We compare with LSL. They also submitted their quote to us for the next 5 years. And we'll be saving about $5,510 every year going with Rams, and which will total to $26,810 for 5-year span with the auditors.
Is that a
Um,
fixed cost then? I mean, you said the.
Auditors?
Well,
Oh,
first year,
oh, it is a
will save
set
now, and then
Mm.
the second year. you have to do the
thing.
same amount of money.
It's in our proposal. They are increasing a little bit year over year.
It was-
But it is the savings compared to LSL proposal, which is their proposal also increasing. So
Yeah,
it
it's
is
a
about
small
5,000.
percentage increase
Yeah.
each year. Yeah.
Mhm. So it's
Well,
about
most of it,
5,000.
most of it in the report I saw, it looked like it had to do with the cost of the filing fees going up.
Filing fee. It was, they will do their auditing fee. That will be slowly increasing year over year. So for fiscal year 26, it's 38,500. And then they also do state controllers report, which is just 1,500. And then they will also provide separate additional services if needed for single audit. Or also they can consult us on the ERP implementation. So that was as part of their cost proposal.
So the consulting on ERP would be an additional fee above and beyond the, or is that included in the annual fee?
I think that's a great question for Scott, but what I understand is that it depends on the level and depth of what we need to consult.
You want to
But,
talk to that, Scott?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, typically, we do charge a fee in dealing with, because, we come into an engagement, we set everything up, and then the next year, all the account numbers change, everything changes. And we end up spending quite a bit of time regrouping, recategorizing the accounts, new descriptions, new account numbers. So we have a fee of about $5,000 that we will charge for that. And it includes mapping all of the, since we prepare the financial statements, it includes mapping all the old account numbers to the new account numbers in our system, which takes significant time on our end to do that. And then to make sure everything lines up with what the district has. So that way we're all lined up when we actually come out and do the audit in the year of the transition.
So it's 5,000 more than what this says.
Well,
It will be,
if and when we if it's new accounts and all those things and they have to transition, yeah, but they have the expertise in-house to do it, I guess. That's
Mhm.
the benefit, yeah.
Makes.
only
Yeah.
one time when we transition to the new ERP.
Just don't change your number.
There you go.
Your
No, they will.
project IDs. Keep
Yeah.
them all the same.
Yes. I also reached out to some of our neighbors, Elsinore Valley Water District. They're using RAMs for 9 years, and they've been very happy. We got some nice feedback for them. I also met them at the CSMFO conference at booth, and so they're very present and they're very helpful with ACFR review, the one that we submit for an award. So they will be able to help us to do that in-house as well. Mhm.
Any questions or discussion?
None for me.
Do I have a motion?
Move approval?
Moved by Director Irvine. Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Director Hoffman?
Yeah.
Director Hoffman, second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Item number B, consider adoption of a resolution approving a successor memorandum of understanding between the Rainbow Municipal Water District, the Rainbow Association of Supervisors and Confidential Employees.
So this is one of two on the agenda today. We have two of our bargaining units whose current labor agreements are expiring June 30th. This is working, right? Okay. And we began the negotiation process back in February, and we have reached an agreement, a tentative agreement, which the bargaining units voted to approve last week. So the changes include CPI-based cost of living adjustments, a change to our merit program to go to with a merit pool system that allows us greater budget awareness and predictability in what our year-over-year costs will be. There's some changes to the overtime mechanics and shift differentials, as well as some changes to the benefits cost sharing formulas to achieve better competitive alignment with the broader market. We're also adding some terms like a cash in lieu of benefits option, which ultimately has the potential to save the district a significant amount of money for anyone who opts out of our benefits. And we also have some additional terms that offer trial 410 work weeks for certain departments where we feel that could be efficient, subject to general manager approval, and that's kind of renewed year after year to make sure that it's working well. There's no negative impact on service availability for customers. And then there's sort of inflationary adjustments to many of the flat fee terms in the MOU, like boot reimbursements and things like that, since they hadn't increased since our the 5-year term for our existing contract. And there's also some strengthening of a couple of issues related to management rights. So we think it's a very fair deal for both our ratepayers and our employee associations. So staff is recommending approval. For the race agreement, that is what you're voting on with this action, the first year additional cost above status quo terms is about $48,000. It represents a year-over-year change in cost of between 3.6 and 4.5% for the 5-year term. And that will depend on what the CPI is each year and how much the COLAs are based on what the actual inflation is. So 3.6 would be if the COLAs were at the minimum, and the 4.5 would be if it's at or above the 3% maximum that we negotiated.
Did you say 3% maximum or minimum? Is that
Maximum,
maximum? Okay.
between 1.5 and 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Any additional questions for Carleen on the MOU? Do I have a motion?
I move to approve this.
Option 1,
Yes.
okay. Council Smith moves to approval of option 1. Director Hamilton seconds that. All those in favor? Aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And we have the vice president of this bargaining unit here with us today, Chris Doherty. Normally, when we have the MOUs approved, we do a little signing ceremony, which you have the
Oh, is
you
that,
have the original there. in
that's
front
one of
you.
these?
Yes, with the signature page. So if we could just take a moment and Mr. President and the bargaining unit leader can both sign that. We'll get a nice little photo op before we go to the next agenda item.
Do you like ceremonial pens that you can?
I couldn't enough. Oh, no.
Make sure you get a good signature on there, Chris.
Perfect.
That's gonna live for a while.
Disappearing ink.
And the president of the other bargaining unit is stuck out in the field responding to a leak at the moment. So we'll do their
Yeah.
signing with a little less fanfare.
Okay. Item number C, consider adoption of a resolution approving a successor memorandum of understanding between the Rainbow Municipal Water District and the Rainbow Employees Association. Resolution is 2026-08.
Okay, so this is the agreement with the other bargaining unit. All of the terms for the two bargaining units is the same for each of the MOUs. This bargaining unit does have more employees in it, so the first year fiscal impact is closer to 100,000, and for the total 5-year term could range anywhere from 340 to about 1 million. And again, that depends on what the CPI is, what the inflation rate is each year. And it represents about a 3.6 to 4.5% year over year total cost escalation.
Any questions for Perlene? It's essentially almost verbatim the previous.
Aside from the name and description of the bargaining unit, that the district has recognized, everything else is the same.
If there are no questions, do I have a motion for approving?
I will move.
Moved by Director Townsend Smith. I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Consider the adoption and resolution adopting the fiscal year 2026, 2027 and fiscal year 2027, 2028 budgets.
Yes, and I know had a workshop the other day. I caught part of the workshop, but I think and Constantine has a shorter presentation today on the budget, but I think a couple of really big things. I mean, obviously doing a 2-year budget frees up staff next year to really focus on other things. Yeah. So thank you to Constantine for that. Fresh ideas. But I think they put together something really, really good for us. And I know there was a lot of discussion at the board meeting about the relationship, fixed and variable relationship. And so we went back and took a look at really what we could do. What flexibility do we have within the limitations of Proposition 218, which is a bit limiting. But the one piece of flexibility we do have is part of the increase can be based on the pass-through, right? So whatever we're getting, when we did when the district did the 218 in 2023, it allowed for the pass-through provision for metropolitan cost. And so basically Constantine went back, or, finance group, and we talked through it. About how maybe we could strike a little bit better balance between the variable and the fixed within those confines. And so we've got an option today for you that does just that. It keeps the variable increase at 5%. So no additional impact to our, called our large water users, our ag users. So was the same as that we proposed before. But we're able to bring those fixed increases down to 2.8% and 2.9 and 3.8, right? 2.9 this year, 3.8 next year. So able to bring those fixed costs down into a much more reasonable range. So it lowers the effective rate increase down to about 4%. So instead of the 5% across the board, we're able to kind of chip away at some of that, get it down to about 4%, and then a little bit more of a balance, lower on the fixed, a little bit more on the variable. But again, not any greater impact to our high water users, but obviously limiting the impacts, those fixed costs. I know, a lot of that small farmers and our residential customers, that's kind of the pain point for them. So trying to hear those, I mean, not just, I appreciate the board members kind of bringing concerns forward and asking, hey, let's be creative. We like to do that. So anyways, I'll let Constantine take you through and kind of give you the details, but that's the option we're going to be recommending. I think it is a nice balance, lower impacts and a nice balance between our customer base.
Jake, if I could just ask, since
Sure.
you're on the subject, and just for reiteration for ratepayers that may be listening or of interest, the amount of rate increases on the commodity side that we're absorbing from Eastern, that number is what? 9, was it 9%?
Oh, well, from Metropolitan, it was 6.2.
Okay.
Was 6.2. So we're basically
We're below.
full two plus percentage points below. And that's a lot of our, you've got the wholesale increases, energy is 6%, so we're able to actually control our internal costs to bring that down from about the 6% increase. That's what Fallbrook's proposing, by the way. Down to about 4%. And really, I'll say this too, a lot of that is the dollars that we're saving on the fixed charges due to the wholesale water switch is really allowing us to do this. The last 2 years, we've been able to, it'll be a 30-month period where we haven't touched the fixed rates to, from mid 2024 all the way to January 1, 2027, 30-month period where that they have not changed. We've kept all those fixed costs flat. And now we're talking about it, 3%, after in a 4-year window. Right.
I just
So,
wanted to
yeah.
put in context for the public that,
Yeah.
We're absorbing much larger rate increases into the organization than we are, in fact, passing on
Correct.
through to
Yes.
our ratepayers, which I think is certainly commendable. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Yep.
You know how GovMet was going to be 9, then it was 6.2. Does Eastern also do a pass through or no?
Well, it's basically automatic. We pay the Met rate plus
But
$12. yeah.
Eastern doesn't add on anything? to
Well,
it?
there's a $12 per acre foot admin fee, basically just for
The
them to
billing.
give us a bill, $12 an acre foot. It's very minimal.
Oh, $12.
Every once in a while that will adjust. It'll probably go from 12 and we've accounted for that,
Mhm.
13, 14. You'll see some slight increase, but it's very low dollars. Yeah.
So before it was going to be 5 and 5. Now you're saying 3.8 and 5 on variable?
5 on variable.
3 point.
Bring up the slide.
stealing his
I know,
thunder.
bring up the slide, bring up the slides. Let him go through the slides.
To answer your question, originally it was 5% on fixed, 5% on
Okay, that's what I
variable.
thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
And right now, 5% on variable and lower fixed,
Three.
just
Yeah.
2.9 and 3.8.
Show them the number.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
we'll go over the presentation. Thank you for opening
Yeah.
statement, Jake. And we'll review. I prepared 3 options on the water fund for you. And following our discussion at the budget workshop on the May 12th, heard your concerns and incorporated the board's direction into today's presentation and our staff's recommendation as well. We will start with looking at the water fund and then we'll look at the wastewater fund and we'll look to adopt the budget today. And first, we would like to review major cost drivers for the following 2 fiscal years of the budget. Similar slide was presented at the May 12th, and just want to highlight all the cost pressures that we have, primarily We have Metropolitan Water District that introduced 3 new fixed charges. We have treatment peaking capacity charge, treatment use standby, and treatment remaining capacity charge. So I did the calculation, how much would be our impact of just those 3 brand new fixed charges to Rainbow? And on the fiscal year 27, I came up with 2.9%. So that's the $600,000 on fiscal year 27 of just the new charges. It's a pass-through to Rainbow, and Rainbow itself for our operations, we don't have any increase from our side. It's just a strictly pass-through. And that's the option 2 that we're going to review. That's that Jake was talking about. And on the year 2, these fixed charges, they'll amount to 1.4 million. This is of these 3 new fixed charges, which equates to 3.8% year-over-year increase just on the fix for us. Those charges will have to be paid no matter of amount of water consumed because they are set for the next 3 years. The other regulatory cost pressures that we see will just be more administrative cost for us. CPI index affecting overall variable and fixed rates, cost pressures at 3.8%. This is the new number that we saw as of April. SDG&E 6%, and this the pass-through 6.2% from Metropolitan for fiscal year 27 and fiscal year 28, which is more than 12% over the 2 years. And this will affect our water purchases. And URL increase by 12% and fuel cost increase on average 17% for the next 2 years. As we estimated higher increase on the fiscal year 27, and then it will come down on the fiscal year 28. So that was our assumptions for the budget. Here you'll see the total overview of the budget that we're going to adopt today. The total revenues at 52.8 million. And if you compare to our May 12 original proposal, it was 53.2. So with 3.4 was originally proposed. We did find some cost savings and we're able to reduce on the revenue side and on expenses side as well. So the savings that we found, it will be from credit card fees rollout, which is about 150,000 each year. Other savings that we found is from the new ERP implementation of the new software, and that saving will start on fiscal year 28 and going forward, it's about 300,000 per year because currently our costs very high on the current system. And other cost savings that we found is from in-house CAP crew, and I did run some numbers together with Carlene, and that was about let's see. And
Constantine,
to give you the number.
we could,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about 240,000 on the fiscal year 27 and about 300 something on fiscal year 28.
And that's comparing it to what those same services would cost.
That is correct, without having in-house crew or going for outside services.
Okay.
That's
So
right.
this includes us hiring the more workers?
Yes, that includes that. That is correct.
What is
What
one
Carlene
fifty
presented.
revenue restricted for CRP?
Yes, that is from our developers, what we are collecting from Ocean Breeze Ranch
Okay,
and
one-time fee
located.
revenue, I get it.
And that is strictly for CAP use only. We cannot use it to offset our O&M cost.
I remember that, yeah.
Yes, so, and that would be part of our CAP annual expenditures that we have in our books that will basically finance the 8.7 million of the CAP budget in fiscal year 27 and 8 million of the CAP budget in fiscal year 28. So we have a lot of.
How did you
people.
compute the interest revenue
Interest
like-
revenue?
till 28?
It's,
I mean,
yes, good question. Thank you. It's projected based on what I think our reserves will be and the interest rate projected that will be received. It's a lot of assumptions, but it's about 3.8% return on our reserves.
okay.
That's why it's important also to continue slowly rebuilding our reserves. It will help us to have more interest revenue on the other hand. So with this option two, where we have a pass-through, our reserves are going to be rebuilding on a little bit lower end compared to option one, where we'll be passing 5%. But we'll still see, have a graph that reserves are still going to be going up even with this option. So, which will be good for our district. And that's the first option where we originally presented on May 12th. I will quickly go through this. So this option remains within the 2023 cost of service study. It evenly splits cost increases, but on top of the pass-through cost, there's also had some reserves rebuilding for the district as well. So I calculated the impact of option one on average residential bill and agricultural bill. So it's 5%, which would go up by $10.62 on residential and agricultural by $45.13. And the reason for that is because agriculture, they're more heavy water users, and on average, they use about 130 units of water per month. So the variable increases for agricultural usually have a bigger impact compared to residential. And this would be our reserve recovery, nice smooth line, and then we would be at about 27.8 million by end of the fiscal year 20. And I use these projections to calculate the interest that would be earned on the savings. All right, and this is the option two that the staff proposing, and like Jake mentioned, it will be on a fixed side strictly. Metropolitan's 3 new fixed charges pass through. 2.9% on fiscal year 27 and 3.8 on fiscal year 28. This cost increase is also going in on January 1 instead of July 1, beginning fiscal year. So it is still postponed by extra 6 months for our district. So this option provides a limited pass-through approach. It reduces the overall customer monthly bill increase to approximately 4% for each group. And it is aligned with a cost of service study, and it provides a lower customer impact than the original.
You have the numbers on the next
one
slide, right? There you go.
That's right. And on the residential, they will see an average increase of $8.58 per month on their bill. And on agricultural, you can see it's lower impact. It's $40.10 compared to original option one. And for agriculture, it's going to be about 4.4%. And in order to get the average bill increase, I use 1 inch size for our agricultural customers. And that's the most common size that they use. And then for residentials, 3/4. And this is the impact of option two. This is our reserves rebuilding. You can see our reserves are still going up a little bit less aggressively than option one, but it's still a good option and allows us to slowly rebuild reserves with lesser impact on the customers on the fixed side.
So if I read this right, Constantine, if we go from June 27th, 25.1 to, June 28th, that's 26.2 or 1.1 million.
It's about 1.1 million. That's
Okay,
correct.
and essentially from the previous chart that you presented on interest, that represents about 50% interest only in that number. Correct? Am I reading that right?
On the interest revenue,
Interest revenue in the FY 28 budget is 634,000 out of
mhm,
the reserve going in, if all the interest goes into the reserve. Um,
mhm.
We're only putting 5 million, half a million in terms of direct contribution.
S-
Am I making any sense?
So the,
On this chart,
mhm,
we have $634,000 in interest,
right.
okay?
Mhm.
And the interest revenue all goes into the reserve fund, correct? Or-
That is correct. Yes,
Okay.
100%. Mhm.
So then if I look at the difference over in the last fiscal year, here, June 27th to June 28th, I have a $1.1 million increase in the reserve.
Oh, that's 50% of that
But
is
I've also
the,
spent some money as well out of the reserve, correct?
correct.
So it
Mhm.
doesn't really reflect, never mind.
No,
I'll
no,
go back to sleep.
I see what you mean. Yes, it is kind of half of that increase is from the interest.
Yeah.
And
But,
that's correct.
but we've spent some money out of the reserve, which
We
doesn't
are.
represent that we only put 500,000 in. We put in a lot more, but we spent some. Never mind.
That's correct. And that's how you see that the line is going up
Yeah.
when we putting money
I
in reserves.
ignored the junk.
And then this is really combining all of the district's revenue and expenses by month.
Yeah,
And our biggest expenditures are when we have to pay down our debt, which is twice a year. You see that the decreases are in January, it drops down, and then in July. And that's the exit fee payment and other loans that we're have to pay. So yes, we are earning some interest and trying to put something in reserves. And my goal is to have us above the minimum target so that the net cash flow is still positive,
yeah.
even with
We
all the
have some buffer
payments.
for the unknowns
That,
and the
that's correct.
unpredicted.
Yes, because we don't want to shock our customers with unexpected additional cost increases, just because we start seeing the decrease in cash reserves. This places us at a safer position. So, and with the additional operational cost savings that we found, so we're able to do that. And option 3, this is to address both this option 3 addresses the request from the board to look at what would happen if we put just 10% on variable and not to touch fixed. And in this case, the fixed cost will not be increased for 4 years total. And will remain unchanged for fiscal year 27-28. And I'll show you some numbers, how it impacts, and I use exactly the same calculation like for option 1 and 2 on the average bill impact. And
I think the biggest thing on this one too, that we've got to understand is, it would force us to, we have to redo the cost of service completely. So
that's- yeah.
the reality of it is you would probably get through this and this wouldn't be the result you would end up with, right? This cost increase, it would be something entirely different, but, so that was a big part of it.
We contacted Andrea from AB Consultant to verify about this. Will it trigger? She said yes, because it's not aligned with current cost service, how it dictates the cost should be allocated. So you would have to redo to prove that you're not recovering your cost from one set of customers at the cost of the others. That was a very important point. And then just to give you a perspective on the numbers, I ran exactly the same 130 units on agricultural use. That will end using 1-inch size for agricultural. That impacts them heavily because they're heavy water users, even though we're not increasing anything on the fixed. but they will see at an average 7.3% increase, and that'll be $66.30. And it will be highly based on the usage. Even residential customers, for them, they will also see a 5.4% increase, even they're using about 18 units. So they will also be seeing higher impact even than option 1 and 2, just doing the 10% by taking this average customer data. And then I wanted to illustrate for you as well, what will happen to reserves if we'll just do 10% on the variable reserves. And this assumes the wet years. If our sales are not very good on the water, because we'll be very reliant on the water sales, then we'll see a decrease in our cash reserves. If we're not meeting our water sales targets as per budget, and then we would probably have to do mid-year adjustment and find savings, additional savings, either on our operational side or CAP in order for us to stay above the target. Right. And then what's our staff recommendation is option 2, 5% on variable, and then it's a strictly pass through 2.9% on the fix, and we'll start January 1, 2027, and then 5% on fix and 3.8 on fix and 5 on variable, which is strictly passing through the additional fixed cost from Metropolitan that were introduced this year. Metropolitan's increase, they're also this is aligned with the increase by Metropolitan Water District. The increase going into effect on January 1, 27 and January 1, 28.
Does this in effect change our fiscal year to January 1st?
No, we did the same last year. We just chose to delay 6 months. Yeah. And we continue to provide that benefit. I think it's going to be a big help this year too to our farmers, because I've heard, prices aren't very good. So I think keeping it steady all the way to January, that was something we talked about, like, oh, maybe we can adjust these by bringing it back to July, right? But not a good option for everybody, holding them steady through January, I think is a good benefit but I think it's really going to help them out not to have an increase over the summer, basically. Yeah.
When is our next scheduled cost of service study?
We would do that, like this budget's intended for the two years. But as we started in on that second year, that's when we would do it for the following. So January, it would go, basically January 28 would be the time.
And will go into effect in fiscal year 29. That's why we set the rates for the next year.
How long do those last?
You can go up to 5.
5 years.
Up to 5 years, yeah.
We haven't voted yet, but I appreciate the work that you did to finagle all these numbers and.
No finagling, all real math.
Really
Crunching all the numbers.
It's very time consuming.
It was fun for me.
That's why you are the guy to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, wastewater.
I enjoy doing that. Right. Moving to wastewater, no changes there. Similar presentation, what was presented on May 12. We are proposing 13% rate increase on fiscal year 27 and fiscal year 28. To stay in line with the cost of service study on the wastewater. And that's because we also didn't increase for a while our wastewater rates. So that will really help and fix our wastewater fund to be able to recover all the expenses. And this is our recommendation.
I wasn't here 5 years ago, so, like the 2023 or 3 years ago. But it just seems high, but is it because our rates were so low?
They were kind of, not then done anything on rates in quite some time. It's kind of a first division. Yeah.
Charging.
And that's been, two factors there too. Yeah, we didn't raise rates for quite a while. So it was definitely a catch up. And then, and our sewer flows have grown, so we're taking a bigger share at Oceanside. So that is, we're getting more customers to help cover those things as, you know, as those things come online, but that's been part of it
You
too.
know how we're gonna fix that tunnel? Is it North River?
Yeah,
Not sure.
But is that in the CIP?
that's in the
budget?
CIP
And
budget.
that money comes out of this also?
Well, the idea on that is, it is in our CIP, but we're looking at, debt funding that. So and we won't go into construction. We're funding the, planning and design efforts. But we don't plan to go into construction for a couple of years. And at that point, we're looking at an SRF loan, so long-term, low interest. It's one of those state programs that Tony was talking about that we'll still be eligible for. So,
What's that,
um,
the $21 million project?
12, it's 12 in the CIP
12, but we're looking to borrow about 20 million for wastewater.
Okay.
for two projects. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are preliminary numbers, right? We're just
Yeah.
getting into the meat of it. It's not a easy project. So,
And
yeah.
it's important to recover revenue so that when we submitting paperwork to a bank, they'll see that we actually not losing money on the fund, and then they will be able, we have ability to borrow.
But we'll
cover
be
the debt.
And
Not on wastewater.
Not on the wastewater.
Not on wastewater. that's
It's just,
water.
we just,
Okay.
Your question slide or something?
Yeah.
There we go.
and there are any additional questions? Staff recommends that the board of directors adopt a resolution approving the fiscal year 2026-27 and fiscal year 2027-28 budget. Approve option 2, increasing variable water rates by 5%, fixed charges by 2.9, effective January 1, 2027, and increasing variable water rates by 5% and fixed charges by 3.8%, effective January 1, 2028.
I move to approve option 2.
I'll second it.
Moved by Director Townsend Smith, seconded by Director Hoffman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Opposed?
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Consider adoption of ordinance authorizing amendment to section 3.01.010 regular meetings.
Yes, so this was something, and we ran this through legal counsel, knowing that and to be honest, I kind of prefer it to, having the ability to have the closed sessions ahead of the regular board meeting. But what we were having to do is every time we wanted to do that, we were calling it a special meeting, and I just kind of went, I don't want to call all our regular meetings special meetings. We have closed session quite often. So by adding this to the admin code that we start the closed session before 1 o'clock, but then the open session starts at 1 o'clock. We just basically had to add a sentence into the admin code that allows us to do that.
Alfred, I don't remember us calling those closed meetings back in the early part of this decade. As being special sessions. We just called a closed session at 12.
That's right. Back then, we didn't call them special meetings. But back then it was kind of a more standard practice. Now that we've changed it, this is more out of an abundance of caution. So we are just labeling it correctly because we haven't been doing it, in advance for quite some time. So, this is just to be consistent with how it's presented to the public, or, our actual practice.
More clarification. It's more clarification.
Director and Urban and I were talking about the question that I have, does it need to be codified in the admin code that it is prior to the regular meeting versus called at the discretion of the board president or something like that?
Well, the thing we were
flexible either
Yeah.
or after.
Well, we are, even with this change, this gives us that flexibility. The idea was because we say that our meetings start at 1 o'clock, that's why we wanted to clarify that the closed session may start before that to give us the option without having to say, oh, this isn't on our regular meeting schedule.
Or could start after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we could put it at the end of the agenda as well.
Okay.
But
That's the flexibility
Yeah.
of either.
Okay. I'm just trying to clarify my poor confused mind. Gee, we didn't do that before. Why are we suddenly having to?
Yeah.
Actually making an adoption to the admin code
Yeah.
to do it.
I mean, it's unlikely that anybody would have an issue with it, but again, it just kind of keeps it clean.
Okay. As long as we have the flexibility, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Any discussion, any additional questions?
No, I'm just concerned, like if closed session goes more than an hour,
Then we would adjourn
stop.
and resume afterwards.
after, okay.
And we can always, you can start earlier too. You can
Sure.
start at 11:30 or 11. If you thought something's gonna go longer. You could do that
Let
too.
us know.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course.
It's just a point of clarification. So if we called closed session at noon and we ran 15 minutes overtime, we'd start the meeting when closed session is finished, even if we run 15 minutes overtime. We don't have to adjourn.
That's
Correct.
right. That's at your discretion.
It's just a matter of.
How much longer you think they're gonna
inconveniencing
be,
the public,
yeah.
Whoever public shows up, obviously be a
And-
little delay.
And we ran into that situation with the detachment discussions and things. We
That's fine.
pushed 30 and 40 minutes past the start.
I remember that.
And one of the advantages for the public too is that when we report out, typically they'll be present in order to hear what the report out
Yeah,
is.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Typically, when we adjourn to closed session, the public, typically leaves the meeting, they never have the
Have an
opportunity to
opportunity.
hear the report out, so.
Yeah.
That's good.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Moved by Director Irvine, seconded by Director Hamilton. Roll call vote, please.
Director Mack,
Aye.
Director Townsend Smith,
Aye.
Director Hoffman.
Aye.
Director Irvine,
Aye.
Director Hamilton.
Aye.
Motion
Motion carries. Item number F, consider approval of policy for credit card processing service fees and adoption of an ordinance authorizing amendment to the administrative code section 8.12.0.0 and section 9.02.270.
Yes, and again, pretty simple add to the administrative code, but ran this through Nossaman and they recommended kind of doing it in this manner, right? That we actually have this stated in our code that charges that are passed on to us by card companies or that will be, paid by the person who's paying the bill, basically. So the changes are in there, but appreciate the support on this, the policy change.
Any questions or discussion?
The only thing we did, the rollout won't be until August.
August.
Oh.
Yeah, we talked to the
Yeah, I was like,
the
yeah.
processor and that, and it's gonna take a little while, and we want to make sure we get plenty of notice out, and
Yeah.
people who want to change their payment method and all that, we want to give lots of notice, so we're gonna postpone that to August instead of July,
That's fair.
to not rush it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people that have to switch.
Any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Moved by Director Irvine, seconded by Director Hamilton. Sorry.
Okay.
Roll call vote for ordinance 26-08.
Director Mack,
Aye.
Director Townsend Smith,
Aye.
Director Hoffman,
Aye.
Director Irvine.
Aye.
Director Hamilton,
Aye.
motion carries.
The motion carries. How long will the Terra presentation take?
I don't know, how long will the Optera presentation take, Nancy? It's gonna be longer than that.
I don't know.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember me. I was here at your February board meeting.
Yeah.
And it's great to see you again. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to come in. Since we've been here, actually. Thanks. Tell me, is that okay? You can hear me? All right, so I just want to do a very quick review, and as a matter of fact, this presentation was sent over on Friday, and I'm going to change it a little bit, and I didn't want to send another one. So, just kind of give you a recap. This is the same
Are
slide.
you freezing? Are you okay?
I'm okay, thank you.
Your
I'm
hair's
always
going
hot.
on.
If
So
you start to
cold.
Chatter, you'll know.
Okay.
Are you cold?
I'm not, but I'm warm.
I've been
but
sitting
you.
back there, it's actually, nice.
Oh.
Thank you though.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. This is a slide you've probably seen before. We completed hundreds of public sector comprehensive energy programs. We do everything turnkey. The goal is to not just make sure we find a program that pays for itself, so you're not pulling money out of your general fund. Also to hopefully reduce some of your staff time, do everything turnkey from design, implementation, permit review, help you secure your rebates and incentives, and then the 20-year operation and maintenance of your renewable systems. You've seen this before. There are hundreds and hundreds of our public sector clients. We've been doing this a long time. This is all we do. We're not mechanical contractors. We're not electrical contractors. We're general contractors. We develop comprehensive energy programs. And so when I first came to the district, or actually we started talking years ago, I know, and then COVID hit and all these interesting things. But the project was designed, or the idea, I believe, was designed to find a renewable energy project, right? And under our projects, we develop comprehensive projects. So we look at everything at your district. We try to find savings to help pay for this. We look at whatever deferred maintenance needs you have. We try to design a program that encompasses all those things. And so over the past, I'd say 6 to 8 weeks, we've been working with staff. We brought in our traditional program, our traditional comprehensive program. We've heard different requirements from not just staff, but also the staff's third-party consultant. And we actually had a meeting on Friday as well. And so after that meeting, we took that information back, been thinking about it all weekend. And I believe we have a program. We talked about it this morning with the team,
Okay.
with our engineering team, okay?
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought I was part of the team.
Well, Terra engineering team. Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I believe the program that we've come up with will not just please the staff here, but also, please the board, but also please the third-party consultant, because there are requirements that the third party or asks of the third-party consultant that I know staff was taking, very seriously, as they should. And so what I'd like to do is I'm going to jump over a few of these slides because they're no longer fully relevant. I want to go to the timeline if that's okay. And so the timeline stays the same, but you'll see along the bottom, we will bring, well, what we'd like to do is continue our conversation with, Constantine and Jake and Chad and Robert, whoever wants to join, but continue that conversation, float our ideas, our newest idea, our newest program to you, find your feedback, understand your feedback, see if this meets the requirements that you stated. Bring that back to you, hopefully, this week if you have time, or next week, whatever works for you. At that point in time, when we come back to you in June, that's when we will deliver our final project, which includes final savings, final cost, final scope of work. If the board chooses to move forward at that time, the board chooses to move forward at the June 23rd meeting. We do have a requirement for the safe harbor of your solar panels to make sure you meet the requirement of the final round of the Inflation Reduction Act funding, which we know we have a timeline. We know we need to meet that when we need to meet it, but approval at the June meeting would give us the opportunity to help you secure that funding to help pay for the solar project. If that's the case, we would go right into design, start installing in October with the goal of finishing by first quarter of 2028. And so with that, with these conversations, we put together different solar designs, some solar down below, some solar carports up top. We've gone through many, many iterations of this program, but I think, I believe now we have one that we came up this weekend that will fit all the bills.
Okay, and we've been working on this a lot over the last 3-4 weeks, lots of meetings and refinements and requests and proposals and a lot of back and forth. And I think we've kind of agreed, and we may need to have a special meeting, maybe combined with the budget and finance in 2 weeks. Because there's a couple of things on our end. I'm excited to hear kind of what Optera has, kind of the newest round. But we really want to dig into the finances too, because the bottom line is, there obviously the pro forma shows savings, over the 20, 30 years. But we do have to finance it, right? So we would be looking to go out for some number, I don't know what the exact number is. It was about 14 million or so, the last go around, for all the projects. But it would require that. So we want to really, the thing we want to be really careful of is, you know, you've heard about the wastewater projects and some of these real priorities that we've got to fund, and we can't get ourselves into a situation where, you know, 2 years down the road, we go, hey, we don't have any debt capacity because, so we really got to flush those things out, as we go forward. But I think that's kind of the plan. And we have to also it has to be a public hearing. So we're gonna have to notice it 2 weeks if, this comes back in June. So it's still a very tight timeline, but I think we've kind of got a program, but that request may come out where we need to meet kind of midstream I don't want to get to June and just throw everything at you,
Yeah.
make a decision today. I want you to be able to digest it, ask questions, things like that, and then come back a couple weeks later.
I sense that if we don't make June, the financial picture changes.
It does.
Significantly.
It does.
There's a $3.27 million grant available to you, a one-time payment.
So,
I know last meeting we had talked about some, ways to mitigate that risk. Is that something we want to talk about now, or is that something that would be brought back?
Yeah, that's the thing.
okay.
So, one of the things that came up in our discussions and I know staff had expressed concerns that maybe the water district is taking on all the risk. Well, we don't want you to feel like you're taking on all the risk. This $3.27 million inflation reduction grant is paid by the IRS as a direct payment to tax exempt entities. We have no control. We as Optera have no control over that money. Of course, the federal, I am getting a little cold, so I can chat.
That's because you went over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
But even though we have no control over it, the district has control over filing, when you file, who you choose to help you file it. The federal administration has stepped in and changed guidelines, but these are supposedly the final guidelines. We don't write the check. We aren't in control of that. But even so, we went back to leadership, and leadership said, we will take on the risk of guaranteeing 1/2 of that 3.27 million. So we will take on the risk of guaranteeing the 1.68 change, $1.69 million. That's how comfortable we are and confident we are that you will get this 3.27 million.
You're not going to make that up with change orders? Check it.
No, we are,
They're done that.
we're confident and
Okay.
honestly, we have such a conservative leadership team, they would not do this. if They didn't do that much. That
Can I
hasn't
ask,
changed that.
I'm embarrassed to ask, but we have solar and we don't have any electric bill, which is great.
I-
And we
second that.
And we have batteries, okay. And I see them on top of all the schools and all that kind of stuff. So I get that because it's a lot of electricity for the school and that pays for that. But are we doing that just to take care of the electricity here?
No.
Are we banking it?
Yeah. So what
Because we can't sell it back.
the way we've got to do this, the installation would be here at the headquarters. It's tied to this meter, right? The meter at the headquarters. But the SDG&E, well, all the utilities have a program. It's called the RESBCT program, RESBCT. That's
Find out what that means to me.
but what allows you to do is all the power you produce here, you can actually apply it to those accounts. So you can apply it to, I think it's up to 30 accounts, which
Like
we don't have
building
that many. Yeah,
That-
exactly. So you produce it in one spot, but you're actually able to, it's only the generation part of the bill, not the distribution part, but you can apply it across different
That wouldn't
accounts.
really help ratepayers. I mean, it would would it help ratepayers?
That's the idea, is that,
Yeah.
yeah, produce savings for
Cool.
our overall energy, portfolio, we would save on that. That's the idea.
And that's the numbers that you'll present at the special meeting.
Yeah.
And then, with regard to the third-party consultant, first of all, good idea, doing that, Jake. Were they were they able to validate the savings profile provided?
They made a lot of comments. They wrote a little memo. Generally, like the proposal, good things to say about, the company. They did kind of a background on Optera, and favorable
Did they
in
test
that
the
regard.
assumptions and-
Yeah, and they had a lot of things that I think Optera needed to address, and I know they've addressed some of them. I think Nancy's indicating, they've got the rest
One of
kind of ready to go.
Our traditional programs carry the savings over decades often, and the consultant didn't want that. He wanted to see savings over only a few years
Okay.
on certain measures. And so I believe we found a program now, this weekend that can meet that requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, it was mostly on the, some rate changes, right? And associated with the battery too, like battery storage. And that allows you to do some rate changes, but he was a little uncomfortable with, just because they changed their rate a lot,
Right.
the rate changes. And so he was a little uncomfortable with, oh, you're projecting this out over
Right.
20, 30 years.
Understood.
I get the solar, I get to that. He didn't really have much issues with that, but
But I
just
guess,
that
I
one
guess what I
component.
would be asking is, did he find the assumptions reasonable? In other words.
I think there was some comments on that, but I think generally, yes.
Okay.
Generally, yes. There were, a
And-
few
and
things that need to be addressed.
In residential solar, typically those decisions are made based on a break-even point. Do we have that sort of where we break even? In other words, where we pay off our debt and then
Our ROI.
in other words, that risk carries out until we hit our break-even point. We know what year we sort of hit break-even.
Well, okay, I'll show you that this is the program as it was on Friday. I'll show this. This is not what we've come up with over the weekend. We've come up with something more attractive, okay? Okay.
But just to give you a flavor, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay.
So does it break even? Yes. You'll see the savings columns are in green. Okay, the cost of the program is in orange. And your break even, if you look at your net savings every year, your positive cash flow back every year back into the general fund. Now, if we make some changes
Okay.
to the program, then yes, you should still have net savings. You should still have positive cash flow every single year back into the general fund, even while you're paying off the debt service. And then you'll see after we chose a financing term of 15 years, you can choose whatever financing term you want, but you'll see your savings significantly jump then after the financing is paid off. But you do have positive cash flow every year.
Got it. So it looks like year 15 is where we really start achieving the total benefit of the program.
Right. But you
Yeah.
should never be out of pocket any year on this program.
So you're saying over a 30-year period, granted, there might be some changes here, we stand to save as much as $47 million. That's a big number.
Well, 97 is your no,
Oh.
19 million is your net present value. And Constantine had asked us to look at that in terms of net present value.
Okay,
Mhm.
got it.
So we are making a change, recommended change to the scope.
Okay.
We are going to remove the rate, keep 5 years of rate change savings. We'll bring this into you.
Yeah.
And then we'll share that with you, but still have to get some more things.
Okay. So more to come at a special meeting, but
Have we
Yeah.
talked to the other water districts like Antelope Valley, Indian Wells, Wakaipa? Have
Yeah.
you?
I talked to City of Oceanside. I talked to Ukaipa. Those were the two main ones. They had good similar programs and similar agencies, right? A lot of that was on the utility side over at Oceanside. And yeah, favorable. Yeah, favorable on the. Yeah.
I know you're concerned about longevity of savings, and so I was thinking about this too over the weekend. If you would like to speak to references, long-term references where we've implemented, it's Chula Vista Elementary, we've implemented 14 different of these programs since 1997. I'm happy to provide you with those references too. If you'd like to speak to somebody like that, Fullerton School District, a couple different phases, long-term.
Yeah. Okay.
Customers, so I'll happy to send those. over to you.
Yeah.
Nancy, I've asked this question before, but San Diego Gas and Electric has no pushback from us going solar and losing all that money.
I believe the pushback they're having is changing the NEM rates, right? The NEM buybacks. And so this does not affect you because it's RES VCT. But no, this is the program that's overseen by the CPUC. All three investor utilities offer this program. So no, there's no pushback.
At least from the PUC.
When do you have to replace the solar panels? What kind of life do they have?
Well, I know that there are solar panels in existence from the seventies and they're still producing. So
Not
every,
optimal.
not optimal. Every year you have a degradation.
Yeah.
correct? But, over 30 years, you definitely shouldn't have to replace any solar panels. Only unless you have some sort of.
You had
The guarantee.
was a
is
20-year
20
warranty or?
20-year, 25-year warranty on the solar.
Okay.
Uh,
yeah.
And
20
that's at like 90% of their original capacity or something like that. I don't remember the number, but it,
The degradation up there to 0.5% a year, you know, which I think is more than enough degradation. You probably won't have panels that degrade that much, but we're going to include that just because we'd like to be conservative.
How many panel array are we talking about
Any panels?
total?
The size we were looking at two different sizes. One was about a 1.5 megawatt, the other was just under 1 megawatt. Because we also, in order to help the district understand this whole Inflation Reduction Act and the funding, we scheduled a meeting with some municipal advisors to talk with them about how this funding works. And so San Marcos Unified School District just received their first phase check for $4.2 million. And so we asked them if they'd be willing to talk to the water district and explain how this works. And so, I'm sorry, what was
the
your-
question was how many panels?
Okay, so,
400,
so,
the math
so
is
that-
that.
wait,
I did the math in my head. I have a 23.6 kilowatt system, so that's multiplied by 4 and you're at a megawatt. And I have
so-
91 panels.
Okay,
So-
well, no, this is much more than that. We're using 620 watt. Jeff and Sarisha are on the line. I'm not sure if they have the capability of talking. They may know how many panels. But my point is, after talking to the municipal advisors, we want to make sure you safe harbor that money, and to do so, you know, there are certain panels that are in production or not in production yet. There are panels that are in production or actually are in our warehouse, or not our warehouse, but a warehouse close to us. So we have moved down from the 1.5 megawatt to under 1 megawatt to make sure that you safe harbor that money,
Money.
that grant money, right? And Jeff or Sarisha, if you're on the line, do you know how many solar panels we're talking about with the 1 megawatt system? Can they speak? You don't see them? I can find out.
Yeah, and so the only reason why I'm asking that is a couple things. One, and I don't mean to get too far down the weeds because we haven't even approved the package yet, but just thinking out of the top of my head, I heard you say you
I
might.
can answer now, Nancy, sorry.
Thank
It
you.
was,
Sarisha, our Director of Engineering is on, sorry.
it's about 1550 to 1600. I don't know the exact count, but around 1500 to 1600 in between that.
1,600 panels. Wow.
Good, thank
They're
you.
gonna.
And then our panels are warranted for 30 years. Actually, Nancy said 25, but it's for 30.
Thank you.
It
So-
takes up a good portion of the lower yard,
Yeah.
including coming up to our parking lot.
And that's,
Agree with
that's
that.
where I was going with that is just, number one, we're talking, since this is a 30-year project and we're talking about roof mounts, we may be talking about certain facility changes, so.
We're not suggesting.
No, carports and down below is just
Carports?
post mounted, yeah.
Ports that exist or that would.
No,
be
no,
created?
they, yeah.
Got it.
The carport.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then again, the issue with, the activity that goes down on that yard with regard to that contract, but again, I don't want to get so far down the weeds on that, but that's something that can all be.
I think over the next couple of weeks, we're gonna be looking
Location
at
and
that too. Yeah.
So we'll
Right.
get across that bridge when we come to it.
Are we locking ourselves into 30 years at this location?
Yeah,
No.
basically, yes.
No,
I mean, it definitely eliminates like redevelopment.
you
Kind of
can't
thing, I
move
would-
those car panels or whatever they're
You
called.
can always move them, sure. There's a.
Why not?
It cost them well. but-
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
it can't be done.
I think
by-
it would definitely would focus our options more here.
Yeah.
It would,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
which I'm not totally opposed. to.
Yeah, I think at the special meeting we'll have some visuals so the board can see where these are being proposed.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Walt won't be happy having to run his tractors underneath the carport.
right, your 2 minutes is up.
Thank you for allowing me about an extra 10, right?
Um,
So we'll get together and we'll talk about them.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank
Thank
you. Yeah. I have 91 cents in a quarter of a megawatt.
Go get Walmart at Marietta.
Good ones.
Anyway, do we want to plow on through or take a quick break since we're also going to go into closed session? Okay, we'll keep charging forward. Informational items. Operations report, engineering report, administrative services report, and finance report. Any questions or discussions relative to those reports?
None here.
Reports and comments, general manager's report.
Yeah, a couple things. Water supply related. We actually got a increase in the state water project fund allocation. They went from 30% to 45% on the state water project. So more about every 5% is about 100,000 acre feet that Met can purchase from the state water project. So 15%, about an extra 300,000 acre feet that gets allocated to Met. What that means is for a third straight year, Met will likely be putting water into storage. So not a deficit. They don't have to pull any water out of storage. They have enough supply, even with what's going on in Colorado. I think they're taking a little less off the Colorado, but the state water project is good. They were able to. I think they've done a good job managing water, especially this year. It was just a really interesting year where February snowpack peaked, which usually that doesn't happen until April. So the runoff came very early. The March heat wave kind of, made everything run off basically. And, but they were able to capture that. They filled up Lake Oroville. It's basically full 99% full. Really across the states. Shasta, Diamond Valley right here in our backyard is completely full. So, that gives us a nice buffer, I think, I'd say over the next 12 months. Depending on what happens on the Colorado, I'll talk a little bit about that.
Can't do that to Lake Mead or Lake Powell.
Yeah, right. Turn it the other way. Yeah, so basically I think we can, if we have a dry year next year, then I think come this time next year, you'd start hearing some not great things, especially with what's going on in Colorado. But I think for the next 12, 18 months, water supply looks pretty good shape in California. But I think what everybody's worried about is what's happening on the Colorado. 7 states, upper basin, lower basin, unable to reach any kind of an agreement on curtailments or an operating plan beyond October 2026. The lower basin states did offer cuts, they're totaling about 1.25 million acre feet per year. So California, Arizona, Nevada, with Arizona really actually about, 65% of those cuts they're the junior rights holder. And so they're taking the majority, but California offered some up and Nevada offered some up. And they think they can get to 1.5 there with some concessions from Mexico as well. So basically 1.5 million acre feet's on the table. But that hasn't been enough to kind of move any negotiation with the upper basin states. Seems to be kind of a stalemate. And latest reports, obviously the Fed is probably going to have to intervene and set the operating plans post October 2026. And so everybody's a little bit concerned about that. Like what is the cuts? They've been talking about maybe up to 40% for the lower basin, which is quite a bit more than that 1.5. It's about double that number. Is more 3 or a little over 3 million acre feet a year. So that would be pretty impactful. Again, in particular, Arizona. Arizona takes kind of the brunt of the cuts, being the junior rights holder. But also Met's actually a junior rights holder on the Colorado side. So like IID and those have actually senior rights to Metropolitan. So Metropolitan's at risk of some cuts as well. What those are, yeah, anybody's guess at this point, but And to exacerbate it, it's a terrible runoff year in Colorado. They had some snowpack, but the run, again, all melted early. The snowpack was actually well below normal too. It was more precipitation than snow. And so they're actually projecting one of the lowest runoffs ever into the Colorado. So that's really kind of putting a lot of pressure on getting something in place and getting something significant in place, because like the reality is it's in trouble now, and this isn't a 10-year out thing. It's right now. So they've done some interim actions. The feds are going to bring water from Flaming Gorge, which is a reservoir up in Colorado. They're going to bring about 1 million acre feet into Lake Powell to kind of prop it up, and they're going to reduce less from Lake Powell to Lake Mead. So you'll see probably the most significant impacts to Lake Mead. Where that impacts us primarily is, obviously water supply is the biggest issue, but also power generation. Metropolitan is the largest taker of the power there. And so they're talking about maybe by late summer, about a 40% reduction in the power production from Hoover and the downstream dams that Metropolitan draws from. So there's a lot going on there, and I'll keep you posted. But yeah, that's you're gonna keep hearing a lot about that, especially as we get closer to October and something needs to happen. Locally, let's see. One good thing, this is something we're looking at too, and I know Director Hamilton and Director Irvine heard this on the Eastern ad hoc, but we've been pushing for several months to try to get a crop swap-like program through Met's conservation program. So something that would be available to all Met agencies or sub-agencies, Met's whole service area. And it looks like we've made some progress. So part of their water savings incentive program, which is kind of a catch-all for anybody who wants to do a water savings project, they'll evaluate it, and based on the water savings, they'll basically give you money to help do it. But what we've been pitching is more like, kind of a turf replacement program for ag. If somebody wants to swap out their crops for lower use crops, like crop swap, or any of the other things that we've been offering. And they've been very receptive to it. They actually made some changes to it. I haven't been able to verify what all the kind of what's behind it, but this is something that gets funding every year, right? They fund their conservation program, for the toilet rebates and turf replacement, all those things every single year. So that's really what we've been after, is try to get a consistent funding source so we can continue doing these crop swap projects. And it looks like we've got some headway there. So more to come on that. I'll kind of give you the details as we get them. But it looked pretty promising. The incentives look pretty good and very similar to our crop swap program. I'll just stop there. That's good.
What did low-income customers, we were working on something with,
Yeah, it's a great question. And we are working on that. Josh Cruz, our customer service meter supervisor, is working on that. Ran into a little bit of a roadblock on that, being from some what was it, panel I sat through. The understanding was, the electric companies have they do the low income verification, right? And the understanding was they were required to share that with a public agency, right? With public agencies for this purpose, right? So you could implement a low income program. Turns out that's not quite the case. There's some fine print there where basically they only have to share it with other CPUC governed utilities. So basically just with themselves, I think is, or investor owned, right? So some of the investor owned water utilities are governed by the CPUC too. The Eastern didn't seem to have trouble with Edison, but SDG&E was just basically they're not sharing it. But I think we're going to kind of do a workaround and just have, what we can do is potentially just have the customer verify it with their own, if they want to bring in their bill and say, we can do it that way. Obviously, we would have to do that kind of over and over again. It wasn't
be that many people, probably.
Yeah, not sure, not sure. But anyway, so we're still kind of working our way through how we want to implement this now, knowing we're unlikely to receive that information. So, yeah, and we're trying to work this kind of the softer side too. Like, hey, we're just trying to implement a low income program and not having these people have to income verify and have us, going through tax returns or, whatever it is. So I don't know, it makes a lot of sense. We're going to keep pushing on that and try to get the program so it's kind of more automated and, as people come on and off, easier to implement. But anyways, we're looking at options now. So in the works. Yeah.
Legal counsel.
Thank you, President Hamilton. I did an update, a written report on a recent California Supreme Court decision that addressed the scope of both the records retention and declaratory relief under the Public Records Act. So first, the California Supreme Court held that even when an agency, produced all, non-exempt responsive records under its possession, where a requester challenges like a recurrent practice or a policy that could impact future compliance, that challenge could then be filed as a declaratory relief action, addressing the agency's future or prospective rights under the Public Records Act, and that attorney fees are available if the requester's challenge is successful. So that's a pretty significant expansion of the Public Records Act, because usually it's just, oh, did the agency produce the records or not? Did they properly claim the exemptions or not? Now they're saying you can look, oh, this policy or this practice could be kind of a future claim, and then file a declaratory relief action.
So if an agency doesn't provide it, then I can get lawyer fees to go after them?
Right. The Public Records Act has had that like mandatory attorney fees provision for a
Okay.
successful party.
Okay.
And they're saying that would also apply here to a declaratory relief action, even if it's not, about the record itself, but current policy or practice. And then the second side of the decision is they held that the Public Records Act itself does not impose a records retention requirement, and that public agencies are not required to retain exempt records for any length of time under the PRA, the Public Records Act. Then agencies remain only subject to the retention schedule set by statute or by the agency itself. The plaintiff in this case tried to argue that, well, once you make the determination that a record is exempt, that would then trigger the 3-year statute of limitations. So you'd have to hold on to it, for that period of time. But the court said, no, there's no Records Retention Act. So kind of one imposing an additional burden, but another ruling there kind of clarifying something that could, limit the exposure there. Yeah, so pretty significant decision from the California Supreme Court. They took it up because there were different, trial courts and lower appellate courts throughout the state that came out differently on that, particularly on the declaratory relief side of it. That was my report. Unless there are any questions.
Way beyond my Wikipedia law degree. Board member comments, Director Mack?
None.
Director Irvine?
Yeah, just quickly, want to reiterate compliments to Carlene and the work that she's done here at the organization. I've only been here 1.5 years. In my prior life, I think I had 4 or 5 HR directors, and just wanted to say that I just wish you were around back then when I was hiring HR directors. So I think we're fortunate to have you, and just wanted to compliment you on your work.
Director Townsend Smith?
I don't know, Jake, was it a few weeks ago when we had the fires here
Mhm.
in Fallbrook? Was that ever given to the press, the Village News or anything?
Yeah,
So
we,
got some kudos.
I saw the article actually come
Oh, you
through.
did?
Yeah,
See, I haven't taken the time to read the paper.
yeah.
Yeah. There was
Awesome.
coverage on the.
I think it was,
Oh, okay.
I think it was just last Thursday.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably in my mailbox.
Yeah. And I got it
There was
online. I got the.
there was also a news clip that Robert had shot at one of the news television.
Yeah, NBC picked it up. Robert gave him the video but they gave the credit, Rainbow Municipal was on the.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
I hope our ratepayers saw it.
Yeah, and the fire along 76 was a question I asked Jake Thursday night was catalytic converter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Can I say one more thing? I just want to compliment the staff on working so hard with Optera. I mean, I've been trying to bug you guys, but I knew it was going to be a lot of work. It's been a great job. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for bugging us.
Director Hoffman?
I went on the Delta Bay tour and you guys went on the Colorado and you said it was a lot of information. They literally start at like 7 in the morning. They talk the whole time you get out. They talk the whole time you get back on. They talk. I know my bus buddy was Jason, but we could barely even like talk to each other because it was like a fire hose of information. So I have the tour route and everything in the everything we saw. I should put it down by Greg, but I'm gonna go through each stop. You know how they put links? Did you guys get links in a folder? So
Remember,
there's links, but they were like, it's in there, it's in Lightbox, it's in Lightbox or whatever. So I haven't even looked at it,
yeah.
but it expires in 2 months. So I'm gonna go through and like
Yeah.
write down.
Yeah, all the trip.
All I
and
know
everything's on
smelts
there.
are really fragile. And if there's any bright lights, they die. And I'm like, oh, they have no chance. And like, yeah, it was very informative, but that stuck in my brain. So thank you for, letting me go to tell you that the smells are weak and fragile. I learned a lot more than that, but
They take you to the feeding stations,
the what?
the feeding
Yeah.
station,
Oh,
where they dump
Smell.
dump the fingerlings in and the bass all come and wait.
oh no, we didn't do that. The smell, when you go see smelt, they're covered in dark places with like covers on them, and there might be like a little slit where you can kind of see in there. They're very fragile. So we really never saw smelt, like saw them. We saw the baby eggs and stuff, but a lot of fish smell. Yeah. But it was good. It was good. I'll come back with more when I've been able to
Digest
Yeah,
fire hose.
write it down. Yeah.
I have nothing to report. Board reports. CSDA, I do have something on CSDA. We had a interesting dinner last Thursday. Jake alluded to it earlier, possibly before the meeting. We learned all about the election process in San Diego County. Basically mail in your ballot, drop your ballot off in the box. Polling stations are open. There are provisions for provisional ballots. Things. Most of everything that we already know. The real information came from the CSDA coordinator. I can't think of his name right now.
Chris,
Chris,
yeah, he's their legislative guy.
Legislative guy. He gave us a report. There's good news and bad news. I won't go into the good news because it's all good news. We got some pretty good bills passed. The interesting news that he talked about was that high-speed rail project just won't die. Apparently this week, the High-Speed Rail Commission is meeting. They are going to propose a attachment to the property tax for any district in which they put a stop. So they want a piece of the property taxes anywhere the high-speed rail puts a stop. Now, the question is that a proposed station? Since they haven't laid a track, an inch of track yet, where are the stops going to be? And does the stop have to be in place before that? It will go, he suspects it will, if they approve that, it will be buried in a trailer on some budget bill. And the voters really won't have a say so.
Is this train just going north?
The high-speed rail?
Yeah.
It doesn't run anywhere to anywhere right now.
Probably gonna go to Modesto.
And we've spent how many billions of dollars? Close to 100 billion so far? I don't know. It's an astronomical number.
Yeah.
The feds pulled out, the private sector pulled out, and it just won't die. But they have laid, if you drive up to Sacramento along the Central Valley, there's a stretch where they've been building concrete overpasses, kind of like the the bridge that they built north of LA for the Animal Crossing.
Mm,
That.
the Cougar
That
Crossing.
only is good for butterflies because there's no way to get on the ramp that goes over.
The Cougars can get up there.
And at about 10 times the cost of a normal project. But anyway, that was the interesting thing that came out of Thursday night's meeting. Yeah. Then, LAFCO.
Most recently, the last LAFCO meeting, they actually took up the draft municipal services review, the MSR, on the water authority. So they had issued a draft, and most of the comments that came back, I think from the water authority and city of San Diego, and that was, you know, basically they felt it was out of date. Like, this has been going on for years. They've made these water deals now, and so they need to give time to allow those things to kind of work their way through and see the results and those kind of thing. So they got a proposal that, and I'm not sure exactly how it went, but to shelve the MSR for like 4 years while all these things kind of come through, and it passed. So
Yeah.
that MSR is, at least at the moment, shelved. They're not going to finish it.
What is San Diego County Water Authority? What's their rate increase this?
They
you
haven't
know?
come out with it yet.
Haven't.
Yeah, they haven't come out with that yet.
Yep.
I think it is going to be less than it has been in the past, is what I heard. And that's kind of the, you know, I mean, well, we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure exactly what they've got proposed, but yeah, they haven't come out with their rate increase yet.
Then one of the water district people is the primary voter against it.
Yeah.
Without naming names. EMWD.
Yeah, not much going on there. Yeah, we had an ad hoc meeting a couple weeks ago, reviewed a lot of the Met stuff. We talked about the Met rates, and I'd mentioned the kind of the crop swap like program that we're working on. There also, I got a letter that Phil Pauley, who is one of the Eastern directors, that's now the Met rep on the board. So he's on the Met board. Used to be Jeff Armstrong, but yeah, Phil took over when Jeff stepped away just this last December. He wrote a letter. He's now on the agricultural and I'm not gonna get the name right, but it's basically agricultural and tribal relations. That's one committee that they haven't met. He's now on that committee and made a few requests, and kind of on our behalf, I would say, but on behalf of us in Fallbrook, wanting to take a look at Met, you know, a decade or so ago, maybe, yeah, 15 years or so ago. They used to have a ag rate. It was called the interruptible. Well,
How quickly I forget.
yeah. Anyways, they had a discount ag rate, and so we've asked them about, hey, is there a possibility to kind of reinstate that? So those discussions are, I think, going to start at least, about, why did they cancel it? They had it before. Why'd they cancel it? It was supposed to be a interim. It was called an interim program, but it lasted decades, I think. So that's something that Eastern's kind of taking up on our behalf. Yeah.
Aqua.
Yeah, we had our, I guess it'd be spring conference, early in May in Sacramento. And the very first day, JPIA, I mean, that was a good day for Rainbow. Rainbow won an award. Luke submitted a thing, and it was very cool because all of a sudden when they mentioned they're going to be doing awards, and the winner was Rainbow, and it was kind of cool because they said in what Luke, I guess he designed or how he came up with it, they said they were very interested in this and very impressed. So I kind of got it was something that, maybe they're
Carlene will tell us about it.
maybe looking into to do. So I thought.
Yeah, it was for our safety management system, our SMS system, which is a cloud-based software where we can centralize all of our safety related policies, documents, forms, inspection reports, and everything so that field staff has access to all of our safety related, policies and reports and everything from the field. And we'll sync up even if they don't have cell phone service, they can still pull up an SDS sheet or, anything like that. And then, it provides a good central source of truth for, tracking, inspection reports and things like that. So that, what we found was, this is common with many agencies. We were doing everything, but we didn't have it all in one place. So it took time to then pull up that documentation. So this is all like on every mobile device that we have, it's accessible. And yeah, they really liked it and wanted to encourage their other member agencies to do something.
Good
Awesome.
job, Luke.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, then, that part also was really cool because then they said, is anyone from Rainbow here to please stand up, which I got to say was really cool because whoa. So that was really cool. And then, they announced their, rates, hikes and property damage and everything else. And I sent those, slides to Carlene. So hopefully that helped. I don't know. But they gave what they're anticipating rates hikes were gonna be. And then Aqua started, and I'll just mention it was a water management class. And here's a news one. I don't know if you guys ever heard this one, but I told Jake, this is like really kind of funny. It was a 3-panel person, one from Met, one, he was the general manager of an Orange County water agency. And another lady, she was like some big wig meteorologist in like United States, supposed to be famous. And the gentleman went on, he said he has a theory why we have a water shortage. And with like the Colorado River and everything. And listen to this one. So his theory is, he goes in, I think it was like 1841. He said per acre, there was an average of 35 ponderosa pines, 35 per acre at that time.
I know what you're gonna say.
And now he said there's anywhere from 600 to 700 trees per acre. And so his theory is that the trees are blocking the snow to come to the ground. All the snow's up in the trees, they don't hit the ground. And then the lady went on to say, like, hey, I'm a scientist, this is true. And then she gave her 2 cents about Colorado, that Colorado, the forests are so dense, which I had to, this sounded like feasible, but the forests are so dense, the roots are so intertwined in the forest that it's blocking the snowpack for percolation. And so now it just runs off.
No.
And so I admit that was a very interesting comment.
Colorado does have a lot of forests. I've been through most of them. So,
But that was and one I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And so,
was there hysterical laughter in the audience?
well, it was because it just seemed the lady and the gentleman from Orange County were kind of like feeding off each other. But then the lady from Met, she put her 2 cents in and just, kind of blew them off. But it was an interesting theory, I guess. So
A new perspective.
yeah,
Okay, anything else?
that's it.
Committees, workshops, seminars, and training?
No.
Request to attend upcoming meetings and conferences, for me. Anybody else?
Are we adding agenda?
No.
Not yet.
Almost there.
We're just there. Suggested agenda items for the next regular board meeting.
Just what Julie said, if you want to look at that code, the admin code, I don't know what it was,
Okay.
compensation. We talked about it before. You know what I'm talking about?
I do generally recall, yeah. Yeah. I'll take a look. Yeah, I'm not sure what, yeah, I'll take a look.
Anything else?
I'll talk to you.
Optera will probably obviously be on the agenda,
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Yeah.
With that, if there's nothing else, we're adjourned to closed session. Let's take a 5-minute break. Somebody else already did. Resuming open session for the Rainbow Municipal Water District Board of Directors meeting for May 26, 2026. Coming out of closed session. Legal counsel, do we have anything to report?
Well, thank you, President Hamilton. The board met in closed session to discuss two items. First, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9. And second item, conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Both items were discussed and there's no reportable action.